The core lie and the psychological cost of poverty. You're still broke. Don't flinch. Don't hide behind the technical term financially constrained. You are broke, and you have been for years. The bank balance confirms it, but the true evidence is written all over your life in the cheap choices, the anxious conversations, the crippling fear that stops you from moving forward. The money itself isn't the primary problem. The problem is the broke mindset, a sophisticated, self-constructed belief system that has convinced you this state of being is something that happens to you, a permanent fixture of your fate, rather than a failure of your own internal architecture. You are lying to yourself, and this lie is destroying your potential for both wealth and meaningful connection. This isn't financial advice. This is psychological surgery. We are excavating the lies you tell yourself every morning to justify your stagnant life. You whisper excuses. The system is rigged. I didn't go to the right school. My debt is too big. These aren't observations. They are protective narratives. They are shields you use to avoid the terrifying, empowering truth. Your chronic lack of wealth is a direct function of your chronic lack of mental discipline. Fixing your money mindset is exponentially easier than you think, but it requires a brutal confrontation with the person you see in the mirror. This is the first shocking truth. Being broke is not a math problem, it's an attention problem. You are not bad at budgeting. You are bad at prioritizing the actions that create revenue. You allocate 90% of your mental bandwidth to worrying about the past, the bills you owe, or passively consuming distractions, the TV shows, the endless scroll. How much attention do you give to active wealth creation? 5%, 2%. You are focusing 98% of your energy on the symptoms of being broke, the feeling of panic, the lack of funds instead of the cause, the lack of high-value productive activity. The rich focus on value creation, the broke focus on value consumption. You are addicted to the cheap dopamine hits of consumption because it temporarily quiets the existential anxiety your passivity creates. This imbalance of attention is the root structure of your financial ruin. Stop defending the illusion of your competence. You are highly capable of detailed, analytical work when it benefits your employer. You can manage complex spreadsheets, run efficient meetings, and execute tasks with precision when a paycheck is guaranteed. But the moment you are asked to apply that same rigor, that same focus, to your own future, you collapse into chaos, distraction, and delay. This is the harsh realization you have outsourced your personal ambition to the stability of a paycheck. You've traded your agency for comfort, and now you are psychologically dependent on a single source of validation and income. This dependence is not safety. It's a form of financial and emotional servitude. It means your value perception is entirely external. A raise makes you feel worthy. A layoff makes you feel worthless. This emotional volatility, this lack of self-sovereignty, is precisely what repels high-value partners who are looking for someone with deep, intrinsic stability. The profound link between being broke and being unattractive is not about the car you drive. It's about the scarcity signal you broadcast. Scarcity breeds desperation. When you operate from a place of financial fear, that fear leaks into every interaction. You become overly clingy in relationships because you subconsciously view your partner as an asset, a co-signer on your emotional or financial burden. You avoid taking calculated risks because failure means literal, immediate collapse. This makes you rigid, defensive, and unable to play the dynamic, complex game of high-level partnership. The second shocking truth is the broke mindset makes you a low-status operator, regardless of your job title. You are defined not by what you earn, but by your relationship with what you earn, and your current relationship with money is one of fear, avoidance, and desperate reliance. To kill the broke mindset, you must first acknowledge the identity you have adopted. You don't just have money problems, you have become the broke person. This identity is convenient because it excuses you from the hard work of thinking critically and acting independently. It allows you to blame external forces while you passively wait for a rescue. The effort to break this mental inertia to commit to 15 minutes of learning a new high-income skill, to audit your spending with brutal honesty, or to start a single revenue-generating task is dramatically easier than you think. The real resistance is psychological, the fear of proving your old excuses were weak. The core takeaway, the small mindset shift that creates a powerful change, is this: your first investment is your attention. Immediately redirect 15 minutes of dedicated time you currently spend on passive distraction social media, low-stakes entertainment toward learning how money works and how wealth is created. This redirection of attention is an act of self-proof that you are taking your future seriously. It's the first honest step away from the passive consumer and toward the active producer. Stop defending your poverty as a noble struggle. Stop lying to yourself about your schedule. Your current financial state is a direct, brutal reflection of where you choose to focus your mental energy. Your mind is the problem. Your potential is not. Kill the broke identity, or it will continue to kill your life. The time for waiting is over. The scarcity loop, debt shame, and the comfort of you've accepted that your financial failure is an attention problem, not a math problem. You recognize the corrosive lie of outsourced ambition. Now, we confront the black hole at the center of the broke mindset victim mentality and how it uses debt and shame to hold you hostage. Your debt is not just a ledger entry. It is a psychological anchor. It represents every choice you made to prioritize immediate comfort and consumption over delayed gratification and investment. More critically, debt forces you into a state of toxic secrecy. You hide the numbers from your partner, from your family, and most dangerously, from yourself. You avoid checking your balance. You throw the envelopes in a pile. This is not avoidance. This is financial infidelity. You are actively betraying your own future and the trust of your co-pilot. This pervasive secrecy creates a low hum of anxiety that leaks into every facet of your personality. It makes you rigid, defensive about spending, and utterly incapable of enjoying the present moment because the future, the debt collector, the eviction notice, the financial crash always looms. This is the third shocking truth. The debt shame cycle is designed to keep you powerless. Your brain tells you, the debt is too big. You're ruined. You're a failure. This shame paralyzes action. It makes the small corrective steps, calling the bank, consolidating a loan, tracking your spending for a single week, feel like climbing Mount Everest. The broke mindset relies on the magnitude of the problem to justify your inaction, but the irony is that the moment you confront the numbers, the immediate terror subsides and the path forward becomes clear. The solution to debt is always a series of small, consistent, and brutally honest actions. Getting clarity on those numbers is dramatically easier than you think. The real difficulty is removing the emotional drama that justifies your avoidance. Let's talk about the profound appeal of victimhood. This is the harsh realization your poverty is your comfort zone. You complain about the rent, the high prices, the stagnant wages, and every time you voice that complaint, you get a temporary hit of social validation pity, agreement, shared misery. The victim identity requires zero effort, zero risk, and zero change. It's warm, familiar, and always provides an external target for blame. The moment you start fixing your finances, you lose the right to complain. You lose the familiar identity. That loss is terrifying. You are addicted to the narrative of struggle because it conveniently excuses you from the terrifying responsibility of the narrative of success. Success demands more of you: consistency, visibility, and the necessity of dealing with new, unfamiliar problems. You are subconsciously choosing to stay small and broke because it is predictable. The blame game is the ultimate drain on your magnetic energy. You blame the government, your parents, your ex-partner, or your job. Blame is the psychological coping mechanism that permanently destroys your personal agency. The fourth brutal truth is you cannot solve a problem you don't own. Every time you point outward, you are handing your power, your financial sovereignty, to an external, uncontrollable force. How can you be a dynamic, attractive partner when your life's success is dependent on the goodwill of someone else? High-value individuals are looking for self-sovereignty, the unwavering commitment to 100% ownership of outcomes. They are repelled by the energy of the perennial victim because victims are liabilities. not assets. They require emotional caring, not partnership. The scarcity mindset, fueled by this victimhood, kills desire in relationships. It turns every conversation about the future, the vacation, the house, the retirement, into an anxious negotiation based on lack. It makes you rigid and humorless about money because every dollar feels like a zero-sum game. You can't be generous because you fear losing security. You can't be adventurous because you fear risk. High-level attraction thrives on abundance, the psychological certainty that problems can be solved and that resources, time, money, energy can be generated. When you remove that abundance, you remove the dynamic spark. The core takeaway, the small mindset shift that creates a powerful change, is adopt radical responsibility. This means taking 100% ownership of your financial state, regardless of whose fault it was historically. Stop asking, whose fault is this, and start asking, how can I fix this right now? Your past choices created your present anxiety. Your present actions must create your future freedom. The first action in this shift is simply looking at your total debt number, writing it down, and admitting it is entirely yours to solve. That moment of brutal honesty is the moment the victim identity dies. Burn the pile of unopened envelopes. Stop defending your failure with a victim narrative. Your freedom is not found in blaming others. It is found in owning your capacity to change. The effort to seize that ownership is dramatically easier than you think. The consumer trap, false signaling, and the currency of delay. You've confronted the victim. You've owned the debt. Now, we face the most sophisticated enemy of the broke mindset, the consumer trap. This is the psychological mechanism that convinces you to buy things you don't need, with money you don't have, to impress people who don't care, all because you are desperate to signal a value you do not yet possess. This performance of wealth is the single fastest way to guarantee your continued poverty and repel genuine high-value connection. You believe that looking successful will make you feel successful, so you buy the expensive watch, the latest phone, the fast food meal you can't truly afford, or the unnecessary status symbol. These items are not investments. They are psychological crutches. They are cheap, external substitutes for the deep, intrinsic confidence you lack. This reliance on external validation is the fifth shocking truth. Your status purchases are a desperate plea for approval, and the debt used to fund them makes you clingy and desperate. The things you acquire for status are literally owned by your creditors, the bank, the credit card company. You are a highly leveraged billboard for other people's products, and your false signaling broadcasts an internal instability that truly discerning people can see immediately. They are attracted to intrinsic security, not a rented lifestyle. Let's talk about the true cost of that status purchase. It's not the dollar amount. It's the future hours of your life you sold to afford it. This is the harsh realization. Every non-essential purchase you make with debt is a voluntary trade of your future freedom for momentary vanity. You just signed a contract to work an extra 50 or 100 hours at your miserable job just to put a depreciating asset on your wrist or driveway. You are literally enslaving yourself to maintain an illusion. The broke mindset refuses to perform this simple calculation. It avoids the concept of opportunity cost. The true cost of that item is not the money, but the education you didn't buy, the side business you didn't fund, or the investment you didn't make. The opportunity cost of consumption is almost always freedom. Your inability to control your impulsive spending is not a simple habit. It's a profound failure of emotional regulation. This is the sixth brutal truth. Your inability to say no to cheap dopamine impulse buying is the same psychological flaw that makes you vulnerable in relationships, inability to set boundaries. Both are driven by the same core deficit, a frantic need for immediate, external relief from discomfort. When you can't delay the gratification of a purchase, you are proving to your subconscious that you cannot delay the gratification of a relationship, a confrontation, or a difficult task. This lack of internal control makes you susceptible to emotional manipulation and prone to overcommitting in relationships out of fear of loss, not genuine desire. Financial discipline is simply emotional discipline applied to money. When you fix one, you dramatically improve the other. To escape the consumer trap, you must build the abundance mindset. This mindset is not about having millions in the bank. It's about believing in your capacity to generate money on demand. When you truly believe you can generate more cash flow next month, the urgency to buy things now disappears. You shift from thinking, "I must buy this before the sale ends," scarcity to, "I can afford this later, and I will choose to invest the capital now." Abundance. This shift from prioritizing having to prioritizing becoming is the psychological turning point that makes fixing your money mindset easier than you think. The core takeaway, the small mindset shift that creates a powerful change, is to embrace the power of delay. For the next 7 days, implement the 72-hour rule. If you see anything non-essential you want to buy, you must wait 72 hours before purchasing it. This forced pause does 2 things. 1, it kills the impulsive, emotional rush that fuels the purchase. And 2, it proves to your brain that you are in control of your desires, not the other way around. This act of delayed gratification is the ultimate high-value signal, showing self-mastery and foresight. Stop trying to buy confidence with consumer goods. Your power is not for sale. It is earned through discipline. Go confront your consumer ego. Your freedom depends on your ability to say no. The fear of leverage and the true cost of missed opportunities. You've stopped spending like a desperate fool. You've implemented the 72-hour rule. Now, the battlefield shifts from defense stopping bad habits to offense starting good ones. And here, the broke mindset reveals its deepest, most crippling fear, the fear of leverage. You are terrified of investing, not just money, but your time and effort into anything that doesn't guarantee an immediate, visible return. You are stuck in the mindset that money must be earned linearly. 1 hour of labor equals 1 unit of pay. This is the employee mindset, the very foundation of financial servitude. Wealth, however, is built non-linearly, using leverage money working for you, skills multiplying your time, and systems generating revenue while you sleep. The fear of leverage is why you won't spend $50 on an online course that could teach you a $5,000 skill. The fear of loss paralyzes you. You see the $50 leaving your bank account as an absolute failure, but you fail to calculate the exponential gain you are forfeiting. This is the 7th shocking truth. Your fear of losing a small, calculated investment is costing you exponentially more in lost opportunities than any amount of debt ever could. You are not protecting your money. You are protecting your comfort. You are clinging to the psychological safety of zero risk, zero return. The truly wealthy understand that money is a tool to be risked, deployed, and amplified. The broke view money as a finite resource to be hoarded and protected, paralyzed by the phantom threat of failure. Your broke mindset is not frugal. It's cowardly. Let's dismantle the destructive fallacy of perfect timing. You tell yourself, "I'll start investing when I have more money. I'll take that course when I have more time. I'll start the side project when I'm less busy." This is the harsh realization. There is no perfect time, only diminishing returns on delay. The only difference between you and the person who is now financially climbing is that they took imperfect action yesterday while you are still waiting for the stars to align. Every day you delay learning a high-income skill. Every week you delay investing even $10 into a consistent fund. You're losing the single most powerful force in wealth creation compounding. The psychological toll of this paralysis is immense. It transforms you into an idea hoarder, someone who reads books, watches videos, and talks endlessly about great plans, but never executes. This behavior broadcasts a massive signal of low competence and low conviction. In attraction dynamics, this is fatal. You might have the best ideas, but if you lack the conviction to execute them, you signal that you are a dreamer, not a doer, a low-value prospect for a partner seeking stability and forward momentum. High-value partners are attracted to momentum, to action, to the energy of someone building something real. They are repelled by the energy of analysis paralysis and chronic delay. The antidote to the fear of leverage is micro-investment in self. Stop seeing investment as a monolithic, terrifying gamble. See it as an intentional expenditure of resources, time, money, attention designed to increase your future value. You spend $10 on a coffee that depreciates into urine. You refuse to spend $10 on a book that could permanently raise your income floor. The choice is a reflection of your self-worth. When you refuse to invest in your own education or skills, you are tacitly agreeing with the broke mindset that you are not worth improving. The core takeaway, the powerful mindset shift, is to make your first calculated bet. This isn't about buying crypto or stock options. It's about betting on you. Take the smallest, most immediate action that involves a risk of time or money but guarantees a growth in skill or knowledge. Spend $25 on a domain name for the business you keep talking about. Spend 2 hours after work building a single, tangible asset, a landing page, a skill portfolio, a well-researched investment thesis. That first step, the first time you deploy a resource toward nonlinear growth, breaks the psychological grip of linearity and comfort. Stop waiting for a lottery win. Stop reading articles about what you should do. The safest choice, staying stagnant, is the riskiest path to a meaningful life. Make your first bet now. The cost of delay is crushing, but the effort to start is dramatically easier than you think. The sovereign mind and the unbreakable confidence of ownership. You have navigated the psychological minefield. You've shed the victimhood, dismantled the consumer trap, and stared down the fear of leverage. You are standing at the threshold of the sovereign mind, the final mental state that defines true magnetic confidence and lasting wealth. But here is where most people fail. They try to achieve wealth while still maintaining the default emotional state of being broke. The eighth shocking truth is this: the difference between the rich and the broke is not their income. It's their internal state when facing a problem. When a broke mindset operator encounters an unexpected expense, a car repair, a dental bill, their default emotional state is immediate, intense anxiety, panic, and self-pity. They see a disaster that confirms their failure. When a sovereign mind operator encounters the same expense, their default emotional state is calculation, generation, and calm problem-solving. They see a solvable challenge that requires a quick strategic deployment of resources or skills. The broke mindset generates fear. The sovereign mind generates solutions. Your financial life will not change until you change this default emotional reaction. This emotional conditioning is what broadcasts the most powerful attraction signal. If your inner life is dominated by constant anxiety, you are, by definition, emotionally unstable and a burden waiting to happen. The broke mindset seeks a partner not for companionship, but for emotional and financial rescue, someone to absorb the anxiety they generate. This is low-status behavior, instantly recognizable and actively repellent to partners who value autonomy. The sovereign mind, forged in the furnace of financial discipline, operates from a place of preemptive resourcefulness. They are stable, calm, and, critically, they are generative. They signal, "I am a source of solutions, not a sink for problems." This generative energy is the pure essence of high-value attraction. The harsh realization you must accept is that your inability to set boundaries in life is directly tied to your fear of financial insecurity. You tolerate low-paying clients, disrespect from your boss, or toxic behavior in relationships because your broke mindset convinces you that you cannot afford to lose the stability they represent, no matter how miserable it makes you. The fear of being broke keeps you small, quiet, and compliant. The moment you start generating revenue, building savings, and taking ownership of your self-worth, your voice changes. You gain the fundamental freedom to say, "No, this is unacceptable." Without the underlying tremor of panic, financial discipline buys you dignity and choice. Without it, you are a hostage to external forces. To make the final permanent shift, you must kill the ultimate lie, the lie that freedom is retirement. Freedom is not a destination decades away. It is the daily sovereignty over your time and emotional energy. You achieve freedom the moment you start dedicating your most valuable resource, your focused attention, to assets, skills, systems, investments instead of liabilities, debt, passive consumption, excuses. Every single choice you make today should be an act of rebellion against the future servitude that the broke mindset demands. The ninth brutal truth that cements this change: the comfort of your current routine is the single most expensive habit you own. It costs you compounded interest, lost opportunities, and the slow, grinding death of your ambition. It's the highest interest rate you will ever pay. You must treat your routine inertia like the debt that it is, and pay it down with generative thinking. The core takeaway, the final permanent mindset shift, is to practice generative thinking. For the next 30 days, dedicate 15 minutes immediately after waking up to this exercise. Do not look at social media, email, or news. Instead, ask yourself, what is one thing I can create or improve today that will increase my future financial value, regardless of my job? This shifts your brain's default setting from receiver to transmitter, from consumer to creator. This small act of daily mental generation is the ultimate expression of the abundance mindset, and it is dramatically easier than you think to start, but impossible to maintain if you are still lying to yourself. Your broke mindset is a terminal illness you have been self-medicating with cheap dopamine and victim narratives. The cure is radical honesty and relentless generative action. Stop waiting for the moment you feel rich. Act like you are worthy of wealth, and the money will follow the mind. The self-sovereignty you seek, the unbreakable confidence, the magnetic attraction, the peace of mind is not a gift. It is the earned reward of relentless financial discipline. Go seize the power that has been yours all along.